is CTV News.
Good evening, I'm Sanjay. Maru. Thanks for joining us. The tax deadline is fast approaching, and for many Canadians, that return could mean some much-needed relief amid rising costs. But experts say you will not get the full benefit unless you take a few extra minutes to make sure you're claiming everything you're entitled to. CTV's Pat Foran leads us off tonight.
More than ever, many Canadians are counting on a tax refund to help them pay their bills. A survey by TurboTax found 69% of Canadians say they'll be financially impacted if they don't get a tax refund this year, and 40% say they're relying on their tax refund to cover the rising cost of living expenses.
Canadians are increasingly becoming stressed over the state of the Canadian market, the economy obviously being triggered by a lot of the geopolitical tensions that we are seeing occur right now.
TurboTax says there are more than 400 different deductions and credits that you may be eligible for. The survey found 58% worry they may be missing out on tax credits and deductions. Using a tax software program can help you find them.
This is where a tax software like TurboTax with its AI can do that heavy lifting for you, will take out the guesswork.
UFile is another popular tax software program. Like most that are available, they also have a free version depending on your income.
Most softwares will offer a free version of their software, including ours, as long as they meet certain criteria, which are usually not hard to meet.
You can also go to the CRA's website and use Simplifile, which is a free service for individuals with a lower income and simple tax situation. Many mistakes happen because people forget to deduct expenses they're eligible for. Comparing this year's tax return to last year's can help find errors and omissions.
Double check your return with your previous year's return. Okay, that's very, very important.
The survey also found 1 in 4 Canadians admit they're tempted to claim something they're not qualified for, which is not recommended. One change happening is the GST-HST credit has been renamed the Canada Groceries and Essentials Benefit. It will provide quarterly payments starting this summer to more than 12 million Canadians with low to modest incomes. Pat Foran, CTV News.
Security has been heightened at the Gordie Howe International Bridge after a Canadian with a criminal history managed to gain access in March.
So that individual, it was not an easy opportunity for them to enter the bridge, and I don't want to provide additional details because I don't want people to attempt to copy that process.
U.S. Customs and Border Protection previously telling CTV News a 28-year-old attempted to cross the bridge on March 6th. Bridge officials later describing the incident as, quote, a one-off. Since then, security has increased to increase the chance for apprehension in the future. While unintended, bridge officials say the event is a test of their response.
You know, it gives us the opportunity to look at our response times and how those systems work, who calls who, how quickly people respond and react. Really, any opportunity right now to take an issue or initiative, reflect upon that, improve upon it, is something that we welcome at this time period.
Police in Windsor are asking the public to have a close look at a surveillance photo of an SUV believed to be partially involved in last week's fatal pedestrian crash. Police say this is the vehicle in question, believed to be a dark-colored SUV, possibly navy blue with tinted windows and a rear window spoiler or wing. Investigators say the driver of this vehicle was partially involved in a two-vehicle fatal crash that killed a 65-year-old. As we first told you last week, that pedestrian was walking mid-block in the 1600 block of Tecumseh Road East on April 15th when she was hit by a vehicle. The impact then threw her into the opposite lane, causing her to be hit by a second vehicle. The driver of the first vehicle stayed on scene, but officers say the driver of the second vehicle did not. Police are once again asking for the public to check if the vehicle in question can be seen in surveillance video between 10 and 10:30 p.m. on April 15th, again in the 1600 block of Tecumseh Road East. Police also encouraging the driver to come forward to help in this investigation with the victim's grieving family in mind.
can only imagine that the family is going to be dealing with some traumatic feelings at this time. But we are focused heavily on trying to bring justice to whoever, to the family and to the person who unfortunately lost their life in this collision.
Windsor City Hall has fired back at a former employee in an ongoing employment lawsuit. According to local media reports, the city denies Tom Hunt's allegations, saying he was let go because of a change in direction in how the city operates. As CTV's Michelle Molesky reports, Tom Hunt says he was humiliated during his last 18 months on the job.
Tom Hunt, seen here in a CTV story from 2017, worked as Windsor's land use planner for 25 years. According to his statement of claim, in January 2023, he was given working notice that his employment would end in 18 months. What followed, Hunt alleges, was more than a year of professional marginalization and negative treatment. Hunt alleges he was denied access to city emails, prevented from attending city meetings, and had his duties assigned to other staff members. According to local media reports, the city now says Hunt was denied access to certain emails because he was on a medical leave. And they are reporting the city needed to make changes to meet provincial housing mandates. Windsor says Hunt's lawsuit is full of vexatious allegations designed to embarrass.
It's definitely becoming more common that cases are going public, and because employees are filing their cases publicly, employers feel a much greater need to respond publicly.
Employment lawyer Sunira Chaudhry isn't involved in the case, but reminds taxpayers the end result of this kind of public dispute will likely not be known.
You might have both parties enter into a mediation or ultimately a settlement, and that's where the story drops for the rest of us. And media is left saying we had allegations on this side, we had denials, and maybe a different narrative on the other side, and we're not let back into the story. That's very common.
Windsor recently settled its dispute with former engineer Chris Nepsey. He made similar allegations the city similarly publicly disputed. Both sides have now signed non-disclosure agreements.
We need to be careful about just assuming or jumping to a conclusion that just by going public, that means you're getting paid more. That's definitely not the case in a lot of circumstances.
Michelle Molesky, CTV News.
Windsor-Tecumseh MPP Andrew Dowie is signaling his readiness to support controversial retroactive changes to Ontario's Freedom of Information system. The Ford government is set to skip committee debate on the move that will seal public access to records from the Premier, Cabinet and their offices. Ontario's Information and Privacy Commissioner calling the changes shocking and an attempt to evade public accountability. The Premier has stressed keeping his personal phone records private is a key reason for the change. Dowie says the revision will bring Ontario's laws in line with other Canadian jurisdictions and allow politicians to have frank conversations behind closed doors.
We need to strike the right balance between the need to know, which is largely unaffected with these changes. 95% of today's requests are unchanged. These are specific to the political level, call it akin to in-camera conversations that a municipal council has. I think any organization, your personal phone is your personal phone, and government stuff is one thing.
Major traffic delays started this morning at the intersection of L'Esperance Road and County Road 42, and they're expected to continue for the next 6 weeks. The intersection will remain fully closed in all directions as crews begin a complete rebuild. The project includes widening the road with new sidewalks, bike lanes, crosswalks, streetlights, and traffic signals. Mayor Gary McNamara says the closure is necessary to speed up complex underground work, and he's asking drivers to be patient. Detours are routing drivers to Banwell and Manning roads, although businesses in the area will remain accessible. The closure is expected to last until the end of May, weather permitting. And on the other end of the city, southbound Ojibwe Parkway will have lane restrictions between GN Booth Drive and the Essex Terminal Railway tracks. Those lane restrictions for concrete road repairs run through May 15th. Councillor Fred Francis saying Ojibwe Parkway is among the region's busiest corridors, acting as the gateway to LaSalle and Amherstburg. And traffic volumes, they're expected to continue rising, particularly as the Gordie Howe Bridge opens. The city says work on Ojibwe Parkway will continue again as long as weather permits. Well, 1 week after the city of Windsor announced a 5-year agreement with Bird Canada is about to come to an end, the company offering the e-scooters and bikes say they have no intentions of leaving Windsor.
We're still very hopeful that an extension will get put in place quite shortly here. So we're treating this more as a pause than an end of service from our perspective.
Hundreds of electric bikes and scooters across the city will be packed up if an extension is not signed. Bird Canada says they've recorded nearly 500,000 trips since launching in Windsor. Service disruptions have prompted layoffs affecting half of their 20-person team in the city. General Manager Patrick Graham says they're still hopeful a deal can come together ahead of the deal expiring tomorrow.
We know that this service provides people with affordable, sustainable transportation to get to work, to school, and people rely on this. And it's a net benefit to, a huge number of people in the city. Last year we had over 16,000 residents take rides on the service. So a large number of people do rely on this each and every day.
After the break, where's the beef? Well, if you're sticking to a budget, it's getting more difficult to keep it on the table. Following what has been an absolutely gorgeous day across the city, CTV meteorologist Gary Archibald joining me now for a look at the forecast. Gary.
Sanjay, tonight still relatively quiet, a bit breezy and certainly getting colder. This morning, our low between 5 and 6 a.m. was sub-zero, minus 1.1 degrees Celsius. Yes, if you were up early enough, you did see frost on the ground, perhaps on your windshield car. The temperatures did rise well above the freezing mark, but not to seasonal values. It reached almost 9 degrees, but our average high at this time of the year is just over 14. The average low is closer to about 3.5 to 4 degrees Celsius. Yes, that's snow. Moving across parts of Pennsylvania and New York State proper into the New England region. We've seen snow in the Gaspé Peninsula and Quebec. So to the east and north of us, snow and much colder temperatures. We are in the cold half of the country. Meanwhile, the west has warmed up considerably. Saw temperatures in the teens across parts of Alberta and Saskatchewan today. The overnight temperature under a clear night, it was a beautiful starry morning, and late last night as well. Take advantage. It's a bit breezy, so make sure you have a good tripod with your camera if you're capturing the night sky, and of course your telescope to follow suit. Breezy with the winds out of the south, changing direction, but still cold air at the surface, down to 2 degrees before dawn tomorrow morning. And then things get interesting. We will see sunshine and, instead of like today, chilly below seasonal temperatures. We are warming up to be well above our average of about 14, getting close to 20 to 21 degrees Celsius between Windsor and Essex. Chatham-Kent, I think, will be a touch cooler, probably between 17 and 19, but both locales and much of extreme southwestern Ontario well above seasonal and sunny for the afternoon. It should be a lovely day. Remember your sunglasses and sunscreen, of course. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday in the 20s still. Clouding over through the midweek. Showers a possibility both Wednesday, Thursday. Friday, as it stands right now, should be glorious. Sunny and 24. The weekend, we cool off, but still looking at mid to upper teens, a few degrees above seasonal. Showers possible on Saturday. A sunny Sunday is in the offing. And then Monday, a week from now, down to 16, which would be maybe, I would say, about a degree and a half above seasonal when that rolls around. The worst case scenario is frost. Some low-lying areas tomorrow morning. Just keep that in mind. It's still a possibility, but we warm up beautifully, Sanjay, as we head towards the afternoon.
Meanwhile, parts of Ontario and Quebec are not out of the woods just yet, with spring flooding expected to peak in places like Gatineau. People in other parts of Quebec being told to leave their homes. CTV's Adrian Gobriel is in Minden, Ontario, where a state of emergency is still in place.
A roadway swallowed by a rushing river, homes surrounded and submerged in water. For more than a week, residents in Minden, Ontario, north of Toronto, have been on the front lines, battling Mother Nature's wrath.
Yesterday, I talked to a lady that was helping us sandbag, and she lost her house, and she lost her fifth wheel trailer, and this was a house that she had grown up in. And when I heard that, I just broke down into tears.
While the nearby dam is still bursting at the seams, Minden's mayor is hopeful that the worst of the flooding is now downstream.
Unless you get an immediate, going up to 20 degrees Celsius and pouring rain again, we should be able to move some of that water out to give ourselves some room.
The same can't be said in other parts of Ontario and Quebec.
You see here Welland Street right there. It doesn't look like a street, but it is. It's basically flooded, so when vehicles come out, we've put some sandbags here just to avoid some of the waves coming through our property.
Areas of rural western Quebec remain underwater, with the snowmelt still underway and concerns of more rain in the forecast that could make matters worse. In French River, Ontario, the mayor there says her community still isn't out of the woods.
It's going to get much worse. Give it another 4 or 5 days. It'll get much worse, and we anticipate this lasting for at least another 2 weeks, maybe more.
Officials here are working closely with Environment Canada to monitor the amount of water being released from lakes further upstream here into the Gull River as they try and protect this and other communities. Adrian Gobriel, CTV News, Minden, Ontario.
Contract talks for EMS services across Windsor, Essex are set to resume this week after recently breaking down. Paramedics with QP Local 2974 voted 100% in favor of strike action back in February and have been without a contract since the end of March. The union and the county now have a conciliation date set for Thursday, with a second session also scheduled. One of the main issues is keeping up with other regions as services across Ontario compete to recruit and retain paramedics. The union says it's pushing for a deal that addresses workload and supports while also keeping this region competitive. Both sides are expected back at the table with hopes of making progress and avoiding any disruption to service.
So again, we're looking for stabilization, the ability to recruit, retain, to offer in protections such as mental health supports, things in line with other first responders that we're simply not competitive with.
Canada's main stock index changed direction to finish in positive territory today. In Toronto, the TSX gained a very modest 14 points, while in New York, the Dow fell 5 and the Nasdaq lost 64. The Canadian dollar is up 0.13 cents. Gold drops almost $51 an ounce as oil gains $4.83 a barrel. Start your day with the latest local news. Sign up for our newsletter for direct local content straight from CTV Windsor to your inbox, including top stories, the forecast, and videos. You can sign up at ctvnewswindsor.ca. Some Canadians are finding it hard to put food on the table because of the high cost of groceries. Rising cattle prices mean the cost of beef is up nearly 15% since last year. CTV's Kathy Lee has more.
On Colk farms in southern Alberta, thousands of cattle are raised and finished, part of a critical link in Canada's beef supply.
They're curious.
But CEO Leighton Colk says the cost of doing business is rising.
These big animals have gone from being $1,000 to $1,500. They've crept up to $3,000 to $4,000.
Futures market data suggests cattle prices are trending higher, up more than 6% in the past month and nearly 20% in the last year. Severe drought in Western Canada and the U.S. Midwest is a contributing factor. Less grass and higher feed costs forced some producers to cut back their herds. The tight supply and strong demand is driving up cattle prices.
If the cost of production's high, eventually the end product has to come up to pay for that cost of production.
And the price of that end product, beef, has skyrocketed. The latest Stats Canada data shows prices are up nearly 14% compared to last year, outpacing overall food inflation.
In spite of these high prices, we still see consumers wanting to purchase beef. If we see consumers start to pull back, then it's expected that prices will start to come down.
But as long as Canadians continue to want their steaks, roasts, and hamburgers, ranchers will need to focus on growing their herds to bring down the price, something that Kolk says is happening.
We are seeing some growth. It's not as fast as you would think because cash crops, canola, wheat, barley, corn, soybeans, those are all crops that are competing for the same grass that the cow eats.
Because it takes time to grow the herd, industry experts say it could take another 1 to 2 years before consumers see a reduction in beef prices. Kathy Lee, CTV News, near Lethbridge, Alberta.
The town of Kingsville's decision to open its recreational fields May 1st has disappointed soccer communities in the area already using them.
What hurts us the most, working with the town, we've had a great relationship. It's really just, better communication we hope for in future years, right? We've been expressing our start date for months now with the town, even as recent as April 9th, like I mentioned, and at no point was there any mention that fields would be closed until May 1st.
Both the Kingsville and Cottam Soccer Associations issued notices over the weekend to their members that all games and practices would be suspended until fields opened May 1st. The town issuing a statement stressing field rentals begin in May, but that staff aim to open earlier if conditions allow. The town says persistent rain means the fields are not quite ready to open and manage the load of a full season. Treasurer Michael Chabot says players had already been using the fields beginning April 14th. And the false start now means pushing the minor soccer season back 2 weeks, ending July 4th.
Can't speak to why they went out on the fields earlier. I can only speak to the town issuing permits for the May 1st start. It's not unlike any other municipality. These things happen. Folks get excited to get out there and enjoy the weather, and enjoy the fields, and that's what we want.
The town of Essex is deferring a decision on a new tourism tax. Council voting unanimously tonight to push what's called a MAT tax to the next term of council. The proposal would add a 4% fee to hotel and short-term rental stays. Added revenue would be split between the town and Tourism Windsor Essex Peely Island, TWEPI. Essex could generate about $150,000 every year. Deputy Mayor Rob Shepley proposing the deferral to hear more feedback from residents and businesses.
I'm probably more leaning in support of it. I think I can certainly see the good of it, and I can see how it would be very beneficial to the town. However, while I'm out knocking on doors, I hear a different push from the residents and business owners, I can certainly take that into consideration too when I make that decision.
Also new tonight, Essex Town Council has voted in majority for a proposed jet ski rental business at Colchester Harbour. The decision follows weeks of debate with residents raising concerns about safety, parking, and congestion. Jetwave Inc. plans to operate 3 rental jet skis with users required to have a temporary boating license and training. The company says it will monitor the watercraft with speed limits and a remote shutoff feature. Some harbour users previously remained skeptical, while others say it could boost tourism. The approval allows for a 1-year lease with a launch expected this summer.
I'm very excited for what the future holds. Me and him both have been working on this very, very hard and been imagining and visioning this business for months and months. So we're very excited for the next few steps.
Discussion here at Windsor City Hall.
Windsor's top stories.
A major project is about to get underway.
Breaking news alerts.
Severe weather is a possibility.
And watch live.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us.
Download the CTV News app.
We have some new space video to show you now, courtesy of the recent Artemis II moon mission.
Would you look at that, man?
Wow, what's the shadow behind it? It's different.
Wow.
Commander Reed Wiseman sharing this Earthset video he took with his iPhone. The astronaut says it was like watching sunset at the beach from the most foreign seat in the cosmos, and he called it only one chance in this lifetime. Reed says he could barely see the moon through the docking hatch window, but his phone was the perfect size to catch the view. And Gary, some out of this world footage there. I have to ask, after seeing that, would you ever go to space if you were afforded the opportunity? Because I'm going to confess something, I'm too scared. I would never do it.
Well, I appreciate your honesty. I would do it in a heartbeat. I was asked in grade 1, 3 occupations to choose for a lifetime. Must have been, what, 5, 6 years old? Starting quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys, an actor, and an astronaut. Those were my 3 choices. So sign me up. I'm ready to do the weather. Space weather is a thing, by the way, very much so. Sanjay, I think we're going to see a beautiful afternoon tomorrow. High of about 21. It is going to be a windy day, I'd say, from the late morning through the rest of the day itself. So be prepared for a mild, above seasonal, but breezy day. Clouding over through the midweek. Still warm, though, low to mid-20s, perhaps. Showers a possibility both Wednesday, Thursday. Friday looks sunny and gorgeous, 24. And then the weekend comes around. Saturday, clouding over. A chance of showers, 18. 16 and 16, sunny Sunday. 16 on Monday. And showers possibility on a cloudy day. Wherever you are, have a good night's rest. Gear up for tomorrow. And as always, enjoy your weather. Good night.
And finally for us, it was a morning wake-up call. A California couple never expected a hot air balloon full of people landing in their backyard on the weekend. Have a look on the left of your screen. The balloon moves a bit in the backyard before finally coming to rest. Apparently, the pilot had to make an emergency landing because the winds died down, prompting the balloon to hover and run out of fuel. But luckily, no one was injured and there was no damage. The couple says the incident resulted in getting to meet a lot of neighbors for the first time because everyone gathered to see what was going on. The balloon was eventually maneuvered onto the street out front and packed up. How cool is that? And that does it for us here on Windsor's News Leader. I'm Sanjay Maru. Thank you so much again for watching. We'll see you right back here tomorrow at 6 and 11.